Peace. We'd like to welcome everyone to the Sister Cypher. We ask that everyone please hit the like button, subscribe, and share. We ask that if you would like to contribute to the platform, you can hit up Super Chat or PayPal, or maybe you can hit up Cash App. And we just want to welcome everyone to the Sister Cypher. I have with me tonight Scorpio16 and Alex Little, and probably, hopefully soon, Carrie Cat Boogie from the Bronx will be joining us shortly. And ladies, you'd like to say hello to the chat room?
Peace, everyone. Hello, hello.
That was Alex.
Peace, everyone. This is Scorpio16. Ready to get into this topic tonight. I hope everyone is doing well.
So before we get started, we do have a little housekeeping. I do want to make an announcement about an upcoming event with Professor Griff. And this event will be held on December the 8th at 3 p.m., which is on a Sunday. The doors open up at 2 p.m. and he will be joined by Dr. Wesley Muhammad. And the name of the lecture is called The Weaponization of Black Music, the Healing and the Transformative Power of Sound and Vibration. And so this event is being held at 9185 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. And I'll be dropping the info inside of the chat room, and tickets are $20. So if you'd like to join Professor Griff and Dr. Wesley Muhammad, you can do so. Again, I think that's going to be a pretty dope event. So if you want to join Professor Griff, you can do so. That event is going to be pretty live. Also, we want to make an announcement about the Alternative Black Studies course series. For all of those who are interested in joining Professor Griff, and this is going to be a 3-month series of classes. Also, he's going to have special guests to also speak on some of the topics. And so if you're interested, you can email him at seriousmindsinfo@gmail.com. I'll drop his email in the chat as well. So again, if you want to join Professor Griff, you can do so by emailing him, and he'll give you further detail on the course series. Also, Professor Griff will be, again, with Dr. Wesley Muhammad. That same series, The Weaponization of Black Music, will be on November the 23rd from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. in Durham, North Carolina on 112 Hunt Street. The pre-sale tickets are $20 for the admittance, and at the door it's going to be $25. So if you're interested in joining him, you can email him, or you can, I'll put in more information on the tickets if you're interested in participating with this lecture. So ladies, tonight what we're going to discuss is Donald Trump and Black supporters. So there was a recent article that came out, and it was basically called Donald Trump Makes an Awkward Pitch to Black Voters in Atlanta. And so clearly in our community, unfortunately, we have some supporters of Trump. And what I want to do tonight, and what we want to do tonight, is discuss, why there's support for Trump. And to be honest with you, I think, as it pertains to our vote, the Black vote, it should be a business transaction. And it should be what we call a quid pro quo. And if any of you are familiar with that terminology, it's basically, hey, I'm going to vote for you, but in return, I need to see tangibles. I need to receive something in return. And I think a lot of times we have been so dedicated to the Democratic Party, in actuality, they have not offered anything back to us. And we have been loyal to a fault. And Trump is basically making a plea to us. I mean, we all know he's a racist. We all know that he really doesn't, support anything that we have, any Black agenda, but he's talking a lot of stuff that some Black people may appeal to. And I think we need to have an honest discussion about that, because the Democratic Party right now is not really appealing to us. They're not appealing to the reparations. They're actually running from the topic. They're doing a lot of things that I think as a community, we should really not support them at all. So I want to talk about this topic, and I'm going to read from this topic, this article that was written about Black Trump supporters. And it is, before we get in, Carrie, are you with us? Okay, maybe she's not, but anyway. So the article starts, before noon on Friday, as he was leaving the Atlanta Regional Commission's, the state of the region breakfast at the Georgia World Congress Center in downtown Atlanta, Ben Joyner, a local entrepreneur, saw an elderly white couple walking so juvenile towards us. As he later put it to me in a direct message, the grinning couple wore matching white t-shirts with black lettering that read, "Blacks for Trump." Okay, we're going to talk about that. But anywho, it goes down further and says, you know, Joyner referred to the scene as being something out of the Twilight Zone. And so basically in this little, I don't want to call it a Klan rally, but basically there was this rally to get Black voters to support Trump. And so you had both Black people there, you had, you know, some white people there with their Blacks for Trump shirts on and saying they basically support Trump. And, you know, the name of the party or the organization or the committee, it was called Inaugural Black Voices for Trump Rally. And to me, it's like a big oxymoron. But basically they had this rally, and what they're reporting is that there's this huge number of people that are in support for Trump. And by huge, they mean in the Black community. And to me, honestly, I don't believe that, because right now the president's national approval rating among African Americans is probably around 10%. And there was a poll, in this article it says, there was a poll released last month by the Associated Press that basically said that less than 4% of Black respondents said that Trump had made things better for them. And I'm like, no, we're still in the same situation. I don't see us getting any better. But I want to get your take on it, ladies, because I am going to be reading a little bit more from this, but I want to get your opening take on your thoughts of this inaugural Black Voices for Trump rally in Atlanta. And I thought it was kind of ironic because, you know, they say that Atlanta is kind of like the Black Mecca of the United States. I mean, you have Black businesses, Black entertainers. It's the #1 place to shoot a movie right now. You have like all these people moving there. It's predominantly Black city. So I thought it was interesting that he went to kind of give his spiel on why Black voters should vote for him. So I want to get your take on it, and then we're going to dive a little deeper into it. What's your take on it, ladies?
Okay, I'll go first. I don't want to go too deep into the, excuse me, into the article, because I know we want to kind of dissect it into parts. But just looking at the first paragraph that you dove into in the article, I'm going to start off by saying that, you know, the article you can see the bias. There's a lot of bias that is in this article, but this is some of the things that I want to kind of point out. Like sentences like, the grinning couple wore matching white t-shirts with Black lettering that read "Blacks for Trump." When I read something like that, I can tell that this is persuasion. These are all propaganda techniques. So that's how I feel about that, but it's all over that article. And as far as the inaugural Black votes, I do want to take another look, or I want to dive deeper into this group that we're talking about, because I don't know that much about this group. But you mentioned something about why do you feel that this article, or for anything for that matter, that Black people support or believe that Black people are supporting Trump? I think that kind of goes along with what you were mentioning as far as who do we have for Democratic, who do we have on the list? Like, what are they offering, and what are they bringing to the table for us as a people? So are they trying to persuade us to vote for Trump because the Democratic, all of the people we have on the list as potential candidates for the Democratic Party are not offering anything to Black people, or however they're trying to switch this up on us. So I have questions as well as my input. So I'll mute on there and let's see what Alex has to say.
Yes, I agree, Scorpio. I mean, I've never seen any Black person in any Trump supporting attire whatsoever. And there's a definite persuasive bias type of connotation to the article. But I'm kind of offended when I hear things like, well, what do you have to lose? It just makes me think you're not my choice. And as far as the Democratic Party, the older I get and the more research I do, Malcolm X talked about the Democratic Party and what they were doing back in the 50s. So, it's to the point now where Trump, if you want the support, where's the pudding? Where's the proof? What are you doing for our people? What have you done? So it's a lot to be talked about, but I think that people do automatically vote Democratic because they think that it's the better party, it's the better idea. And I want to hopefully hear in this conversation, despite Democratic or despite Republican, what is on the forefront for the Black community in stone now. Don't say what you're going to do, talk about what you have done. So that's what I'm interested in hearing.
Sadly, and I know you guys have heard this term before, the Democratic Party versus the Republican Party is just basically two wings of the same bird. And so when you think about how the Democratic Party initially started, we were Republicans before we were Democratic because they were seen as racist, mostly KKK ran, and at some point along the way, maybe in the 60s, thereafter, it turned more into, the go-to party, if you will, and there was a switch. But if you look at over the past 30 plus years, what has the Democratic Party done for us? And I would say absolutely nothing. When you look at Jim Crow, Joe, as people have been coining him, look what he did with mass incarceration. He's the architect. He's the blueprint of why so many Black men are in jail right now and in prison. I mean, if you look at the candidates of who we have to select from, I would say I wouldn't vote for any one of them. Kamala Harris, Buttigieg, and Yang, and what's the other one? What's the guy, the old Jewish guy? God, I can't think of his name. Him. What's reparations? Do you Jewish? How you not know about reparations? But anyway, honestly, I think right now what Trump is doing, he's trying to make a spill or a plea to the Black community because he sees that we have been requesting and protesting and asking for reparations and demanding tangibles, and the Democratic Party will not even speak on it. They won't even go on record of speaking on tangibles, but yet they'll fight for the immigrants. They'll fight for the LGBTQ community. They'll fight for everybody but us. And we have been the most loyal group there is. When it comes to the decision making and who's going to help them win an election, it's the Black people who helped them get to that point. And if you look at the recent election, the governor's race in Louisiana, who showed up? Black people. So Governor Edwards, he only won because Black people showed up in groves and huge numbers. So to me, it's just, I think we need to get clarity of where we are right now, as a people. And we need to stop, and I hate to say that, prostituting ourselves to the Democratic Party. We're basically giving them something and they're not returning anything to us at all, period. But I do want to dive more into this article because, unfortunately, in this article, it says Trump's appearance in Atlanta was a gangster move. Shelley Winter, a Black conservative radio host, told me given that the event was held in the congressional district represented by the civil rights icon John Lewis, and if you're not familiar with who John Lewis is, I think you need to do a Google search. In 2017, Trump tweeted that the district where I live was in horrible shape and falling apart, overlooking the fact that it contains the city's thriving downtown, the headquarters of Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines, and several large research universities. Hours before the rally, Lewis posted a video of himself on Instagram saying, "Atlanta, my city, is too busy to hate." To come to Atlanta, which is economically, socially, and culturally the heart of the Black community in this country, to come to Atlanta as a Republican, as Trump, and roll out a Black voter initiative, that's a gangster move. Winter repeated, hasting to add with an A at the end. He went on, that's what I love about the guy. So clearly this person who's a conservative, and if any of you are familiar, conservatives are more Republican based. And so this radio host is more like, oh, I think it's gangster what he's doing. He's coming to a Black community where there's Black thriving businesses. And I think that's a gangster move. It's like the gall, the audacity, the big kahunas of him to come to a Black community. Mind you, like you said, Alex, he, during his spiel running in the 2016 election, said, well, what do we have to lose? So I guess this radio host is like basically saying, well, that's gangster. You had the audacity to say, hey, what do you have to lose? But then you want to come back and ask us for your support. So I want to get your take on that, ladies, because, I mean, one, it's an oxymoron for a Black person to be a conservative Republican and then have support for Trump, of all people. So I want to get your take on it, and then we're going to dive deeper into the subject.
16, you want to go ahead?
Sure, I can. As far as what you just covered, and to kind of add to what you said, as far as what Alex said, Trump did make a comment, some time ago during, his first campaign that, and don't quote me on it because I don't remember 100% of how he put it, but he did coin some phrase about being able to go in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and be able to get away with it. Trump is one of those people who will say things like that, and he knows he can get away with it. And you know what? Unfortunately, that would have to be something I'd have to agree with him. As much as we don't like Trump, sometimes he does say he does tell the truth. On some things, not everything, because I'm no Trump supporter. But as far as this article and what we're looking at here and what you just covered, I'm looking at the words, and hopefully we can have the article placed in the chat tonight so that people can follow along with this article as they hear this discussion take place. Because if you look at the way the article is written in the quotes, a gangster move, and they make sure to add that the gangster is it's not spelled correctly. It has the A at the end of gangster and not gangster, which is supposed to be the correct way to spell it. This article is really, it's pushing on the edge of some things that I want to say, but then it might piss a couple of people off. So we'll just see. I just don't like the way things have been written in this article. Let me hear Alex's take, and then I'm going to come back around because there's something else I want to add, but I'm going to hold my tongue on a little something. Let's hear what you have to say, Alex.
Yeah, peace. I don't have the article with me. I did read it about a week ago, but what I will say is the tone, that's gangster. He coming here straight to Atlanta for a proposal. That's gangster. What's gangster about it? I mean, I don't get it. My whole thing is, what are you going to do for the Black community economically, politically, socially, as far as job pay? What about our Black women? There's still places in the country where there's 50 cents to the dollar to every white male. Is that being addressed? And what I do know in regards to some of the things that Trump is doing in the back door, that Lilly Ledbetter Act of 2009, that was one of Obama's first, executive orders. Trump didn't support that. Why are you trying to pull back things that are putting equal pay in the forefront so that we're not discriminated against? So things of that I want to hear. You know, it sounds magical when you come to different cities and say, you know, well, I'm going to propose this for you, propose that for you. But in the background, look at the air quality. Look at Flint water system right now. 2 months ago, 2 million extra gallons of raw sewage was put in the Flint River. I mean, it's the same thing over there in Africa with the French putting cement in water. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, oh, that's gangster. We support Trump. We support Trump. What are you supporting in actuality? Because there's long live footage of him saying, back in those days, he would have left here in a stretcher. Make America great again towards what? So it's very controversial, but people don't want to focus on the real deal. So when you get somebody who's flamboyant and flagrant, and they get up there just yapping outside the mouth, but they don't have the credentials to be entitled to that position, it's really offensive. So I hope people can look past the showmanship and actually look at the political stance and review the census reports at the White House and see what the actual policy changes are being in each county and how it's being affected. Because he's just really blowing hot air, and it's just a show. So I don't know for another 4 years, but I just wonder why, you know, there's this new Trump strain. And are these paid actors? How about that?
I will say, if based on what I'm seeing from the candidates offered by the Democratic Party, it looks like Trump will have another 4 years, unfortunately, because they're not making a strong argument of why we should give them our vote. That's just my humble opinion. I mean, if you look at Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, you know, all of these folks, like, you're not making it easy for people to say, yes, I am fully willing to put my support behind this person. And Kamala Harris, who everybody is just trying to force on it, that's just Obama 2.0. I'm sorry. That's just who she is. And Black people is just not buying it. It's like, no, you came out on record and say, what are you going to do for the Black people? No, I'm not going to do nothing specifically for the Black people. She made it very clear. She put emphasis on it now. And I'm just like, heifer, how else are you going to get in the office without providing anything to us? But that's just neither here or there. I just want to offer that support.
No, I think you have a point. No, I think you have a point. But I mean, I think that our people, in retrospect, they kind of have caught on to her. So I don't think she has a chance at all. I honestly, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, but I don't think that she actually even has a chance. Because she brings nothing to the table. And I also agree with you as far as the Democratic candidates and what they have to offer, which is nothing as far as we are concerned. I haven't heard anything from any of these candidates as far as what will they do or what could they bring to our people to help our people who have been at a disadvantage for X number of years. You know, countless number of years, that so far back that, you know, it's hard to even keep track of. That's how long it's been. We've been at a disadvantage. So you look at their track records and what they have, you know, what they have done. And as far as Donald Trump, you know, unfortunately, we may have another 4 years with, as Griff would say, 46 minus 1. I mean, every time he says that, I laugh, but it's so true. You know, we may have another 4 years with him. And you know, and Alex brought up a good point about some of the things that Obama had brought into play and Donald Trump never looked at. You know, I challenge our people to look at the executive orders and all of the ones. And that's something that Griff taught me months ago, is to make sure that you keep up with the executive orders that are being signed, you know, because a lot of them get signed while we're busy being distracted by something else. So there's a lot of policies that get by us. And if we don't bother to keep up with it, they know that they're doing a damn good job of keeping us distracted from what they're signing in as policy. And as far as Trump is concerned, what you said, Alex, I don't think that Trump will ever address any of the things that you brought forth. And that's because he feels like he doesn't have to. For instance, we're still waiting on tax returns. Am I correct?
Oh, you know, Yeah, he's
Yeah.
appealing right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's the New York State Attorney is basically trying to get the tax returns, and he's appealing right now as we speak with the Supreme Court to prevent that from happening. But more than likely, he has to because it's been tradition for God knows how long. And he's basically saying, you know what, he went on record saying, oh, I can show my tax returns. But the minute somebody requested, he's trying to sue the district attorney and the state attorney's office for trying to get, access to them. So
exactly. Yeah. Which means, he doesn't address anything, and he feels like he doesn't, or he gets away with stuff because he feels like he can get away with it. That's why he does it.
Yeah,
he can.
Yep. And real quick too, I mean, why Melania got a policy where there's no GMOs in the White House? How convenient. But let America, food just go to waste and our children die. You know what I'm saying? Like, people know what time it is. When they get a certain level of power, they don't do the right thing. And our people have been on the back burner for so long, it's almost to the point where, didn't Malcolm X say it's either going to come from the bullet or the ballot? So which one is it? Who's going to earn the vote?
It's just the one who's offering the most tangibles for me. Honestly, in my opinion, that's how I'm looking at it. If you're not offering like any real tangibles, then honestly, you're not getting my vote. And I can remember Baba Dick Gregory saying, you never put yourself in a position to vote for the lesser of two evils. Either you just believe in it and you fully support it, or you don't vote for any of them at all, period. Because what that says about you. And I think a lot of people are guilted into voting for a Democratic Party because it's, people have died and have been beaten and blah, 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 blah. As far as, you should vote just because, or you should support the Democratic Party because your grandma did and your mama did and all these other people did. But it's like, no, I'm looking at their track record. I'm looking at their history. And history has shown me that they have not offered any real tangibles. We have been in the very same position since the 60s. No change. That's problematic for me as a voter. It's like, I'm not going to put my vote behind somebody that's not offering any real tangibles. Why would I do that? That's stupid. That's like next to insanity. And just because they're Democratic, that don't mean I don't have to vote for the Democratic or the Republican Party. That's just how I'm looking at it. It's like, who's offering reparations? Oh, you support it? Okay, you're offering tangibles? Okay, well, then maybe I'll consider. That's just my mindset. I'm not going to get behind you just because you want me to and because it's just what Black people do. But it's just like, it's crazy because, again, I think this next election is going to be the most pivotal election for us as a people. Why? Because one, we're offering an opportunity for everybody to voice their opinion when it comes to reparations. We're making politicians stand on their square and making sure that they put on record how they stand as it is determined by reparations. And one, anybody who does not support that should be an easy decision for you to not vote for that person. That's just my humble opinion. You may disagree, but that's just my humble opinion. But it looks like, hold on, guys. It looks like we have Miss Carrie Cat Boogie from the Bronx with us. Hey, Miss Carrie,
yes,
how are you?
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Just walked in, so I'm listening.
Oh, okay. So what's your thoughts on it? I want to get your take on it because we've been going back and forth about this, but I want to get your take on it, and then I'm going to dive into a little bit more on the article.
No, you can just go ahead because I just came in, but I do agree with what I heard you say, that if the person that's presented in front of us state clearly what he's going to do for us as a people, then of course I will sway that way, whether Democrat, Republican, or independent. But we have to start realizing that whatever they say, hopefully they stand by it. And they move us forward, because we tend to go forward, backwards. Our goal is for 2020, just say what you say, mean what you mean, and hopefully we can make a move and get what we deserve as a people, as a whole.
Agreed. Okay, so in this article, there's a young man by the name of Bryson Gray. And basically, in this article, it said that he traveled from Greenville, North Carolina. And he is quoted by saying, "I make all the mega songs that go viral on Twitter." okay, you proud of that? I'm just, when I read these things, there's just certain things that come across my mind, but I'm just like, dude, you actually proud of this? But anyway, so Gray explained why he supports the president. He said basically it's because of statistics. He said that we got the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years. The Black unemployment rate has recently been at an all-time low, although minority participation in the workforce is not as high as it was the last time the unemployment rates were so low. I mean, how could you not support him, Gray asks. And I just read this, and I had to read it again to make sure I was reading it clearly. I was like, clearly he does not know the statistics, because Black unemployment and homelessness rates are still relatively higher than any other group. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, what statistics are you reading? Because if you look at places like Los Angeles, if you look at places like Houston and all these major metro areas, homelessness, and unemployment rates, who it affects most? Us. We're the ones on Skid Row. We're the ones with the high unemployment rates compared to any other racial group. So I'm just like, dude, this, like, it's null and void what you're saying. Like, I don't understand that. And it's just, I don't know. I just want to get your take on it, because this is one of the reasons why a lot of Black Trump supporters are saying that they're supporting him, because, quote unquote, the unemployment rate is going down. And I'm looking at the numbers, the labor statistic numbers, and I'm like, no, like, it's the same since 1960. Like, what are you saying? It only dropped a little bit. We're still high. If anything, if Trump was doing so well, then you would see 0.1%. You would see less than nothing. You get what I'm saying, ladies? Like, am I too far off from this? Because, I mean, again, I'm looking at the numbers provided by the labor statistics, Department of Labor Statistics, and we're still high. And for me, that's problematic because, again, you have a lot of veterans, you have a lot of seniors, and you have, a lot of families who are basically having to go and live on the streets because they can't find a job, they can't find affordable housing, and it's affecting us the most. And a lot of people are saying, no, we're doing good. They saying the unemployment rate is down. Like, no, it's down for everybody else, but us as a community. So I want to get your take on it, ladies, and then we'll move forward with this. What's your take on it, ladies? $16.
Okay, I was clicking it and I don't know why I didn't want to unmute. Okay, I have to say I agree with everything that you're saying thus far. Clearly, statistics are not being looked at, and the way the article is worded, you can tell that they have not gone and actually looked at statistics. They have not gone and looked over data, because the unemployment rate it may be at a low, but look at it from the perspective of our people as it affects our people. And it's not, our people are the ones who are, still unemployed, still homeless, struggling. We're classified as, a lot of us are sitting here in poverty because, well, especially because the middle class is basically almost gone. It's on its way out. By next year, it'll be completely gone. So I agree with you as far as stats. Statistics were not taken into account when writing this article. So that's my standpoint on that area. I absolutely agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, what's so erotic about this, and I'm going to let you guys respond, Carrie and Alex. Under President Obama created more millionaires than any other president. And the Black community actually went down as far as, their economic stance, their housing, losing their homes, losing jobs, right, and what have you. All of that happened under the guise of President Obama.
Yes, and so you and Trump I have talked about this before. Yes.
Yeah, and what Trump is doing is just a continuation of what Obama did. And honestly, to be real, if I can just keep it all the way to buck with you, everything that Obama did, he basically is trying to reverse everything that Obama did. And I don't know if that's the verdict is still out. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but at the end of the day, people became rich off of Obama. Black people fell on a totem pole as far as, you know, like how losing their homes and jobs and their life savings and all of this stuff. That all happened under Obama.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's a weird paradigm. It's a weird stance that, I mean, here he basically sold hope, or as Black Dot says, hopamine. And we fell for the okie doke, the old banana in the tailpipe. And it's just like, you look at Trump and it's like, it's no different. It's like he's an honest racist. I wouldn't support him, but it's like, you know, he's basically telling you, well, hell, you ain't got nothing else to lose. And people are falling for this okey-doke. It's like, are you serious? None of them is for you. Neither the Republican or Democratic Party. Trump, neither Obama. None of them is for you. Like, wake up. Like, get your ass up and realize what you're dealing with.
Yes, I could see Obama and Trump shaking hands behind closed doors. I literally can. Yeah, and I'm on mute on that one.
That's true. And when we do look into it, the Black Americans they're referring to, what bracket are they in? I'm sure they're not talking to the average low-income worker that's struggling to get by. We have talking about those who are well-to-do, college educated, and probably have something under their belt, whether it's real estate they own, companies that they own. So he's targeting their perspective and how they feel up towards him. He's not talking to the average person who's struggling to make ends meet. So we have to look at that as well. And you're absolutely right. Obama did not help our people get to where they need to go. Instead, he did the opposite and helped those that don't look like him and those that are struggling like him or what needed help. So I'm absolutely with you. They are probably backdoor shaking hands, giving high fives, shucking their jobs together. So I'm totally against both, whether Democrat or Republican. You do have to investigate, research, and see who's for us. And lately, I haven't seen anyone. I don't know if anyone agree with me, but I don't know who to vote this coming election. I'm struggling with that myself.
Yeah, I think it's important that we look at policies. And what I want to say is, Quan, I heard you say that, the Black community, Black spell. And those keywords are so important because when we use terms like minority, I mean, it's almost the age where gay white men and white women are minorities. So we need to be very specific when we're talking about the Black community and what is going to happen to it on a positive, beneficial ending behind these policy changes. So again, I say whether it's Democratic or Republican or not, whoever has the best interest at heart economically for a long-term justice and sustainability for the Black community, that's who I'm solely interested in. So as far as tangibles, run it up. As far as the check, cut it up. There's no reason why today in this time frame, even though America might not need our labor force anymore, still, we are humans. We deserve the same constitutional rights as anybody else here without having to beg and plead and ask and protest and pray. Run it up.
Okay, so I want to read this. I mean, it's so many things we can break down from this article, which I thought was just bananas. Okay, so obviously you had a lot of Christians there. And so they had a pastor kid there. And I'm going to read from this because So this person was quoted as saying, if you read the Bible, she went on, it says that there be 400 years of being enslaved and mistreated. And we just hit that 400 years. In 1619, a group of enslaved people from what is now Angola were brought to the colony of Virginia. Genesis 15:13 reads, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years. The pastor added, this is the first president that talked about reparations, the first president that talked about anything about urban development and the things of that nature. When asked about reparations in June, after several candidates in a Democratic primary expressed support for studying the subject matter further, Trump said, it's been a very interesting debate. I don't see it happening, no. I asked her about the meaning of the Make Black America Great Again hats. What's your point in the past hold on. What point in the past did she hope the country would return to? If you go back and read your research, she said, there was a time when we were running things, had our own cities, brought on people out of slavery. I asked if she could be more specific about the time period she had in mind. And she said, shoot, the 1800s. So clearly, as you can see, this person is clearly, clearly out of touch, don't know the research, don't know the history, but I digress. Okay, and so it says, there were other religious people in the crowd. I spoke to a young man who traveled from Harrisburg, North Carolina, and identified himself as a pastor kid. He wore a hat that read, Black Lives MAGA. He told me, of Trump, I feel like he's done so much, specifically for the minorities. People try to say what he's done for these white supremacists, like all the whites, but he's for everybody. He's for America. I believe that. And I'm just like, Lord Jesus, if there's ever time to call on this Lord Jesus that these Christians believe on, like, are you serious? Like, what you're stating right now is an oxy freaking moron. Like, you're saying that, oh, he's done a lot for white supremacists, but he's also doing everything for everybody. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. Like, if he's for white supremacy, he damn sure ain't gonna be for blacks in the black community. Are you serious right now? And this guy is basically saying that Black people are basically seeing through the lies and seeing through what the media is trying to push. And ironically, I also want to cover this, of all people. Now, you know, Martin Luther King, he was for reparations. He was a big proponent of, you know, Black agenda and you know, we shall overcome. He was all about a lot of different things for the Black community. His niece, Elveda King, was in the crowd. They also had Ben Carson, the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. They had, you know, Pence there, and they had a lot of other quote unquote Black Republicans. But I guess for me, reading her name, because she's been saying some crazy ass stuff too, it's like, I know her uncle is about rolling it over in his grave, because he's like, this is not what I stood for. You know, I would never, I can imagine him being alive today, and I know obviously he would not, but I know so damn well he would not be a supporter of Trump. Like, oh, Veda, what is going on with you, sis? Like, what the hell? Like, you have an uncle, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who stood for Black empowerment, stopping racism, reparations, and you're supporting somebody like Trump. Like, where's the disconnect? That's what I want to know. Like, where's the disconnect? And I'm just looking at her and all the people that were in the audience and the Ben Carsons and all these other folks, and it's like, the word that came to my mind, ladies, was delusional. And either you're delusional or either you're in denial. One or the two, are a combination of the both. But clearly, you're not looking at the numbers, the statistics, and the history of Donald Trump, clearly. And I just want to get your take on it, because I just thought, like, this lady is always, like, talking about how we should support Trump and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just, like, I know your uncle is turning over in his grave. There's no way in hell he would be supportive of Trump. So I want to get your take on it and see what's your take on her. Like, does she have a point? Like, should we be supporting Trump? I mean, I don't know. You tell me, because from how I'm looking at it, I don't see it. There's a disconnect. I don't see it. So what's your take on it, ladies?
You're right. She's in denial. I mean, there's no way you could side up with someone who clearly, when you have people of color not acknowledging racism, that's when things get confusing, and you start to forget exactly everything that has been done to us. We have to acknowledge exactly how these laws are against us, how everything that we need and we want to, we have to beg for. It's clearly racism. So I think she's in denial. I mean, that's the reason why her relatives fought for us, the civil rights movement, for them to acknowledge the wrongdoing that we went through. So clearly she's in denial. I don't believe African Americans or anybody should stand with Trump, because if you see, like I said earlier, he's only catered to certain bracket, African Americans or Latinos, whoever who's in certain bracket. He leaves behind those who are nowhere near that 50,000, 60,000, 7,000, whatever amount of money that make them make him feel comfortable enough to say, you know what, I'm helping these black folks here. What about everyone else? Well, I mean, we're entitled to a lot of things and we don't get it. And when you get people of color who just look the other way, guess what? He's laughing. He's like, yeah, I got a couple of them. I don't need a whole lot. I need to please this group of people and everybody else. I don't care about you guys. It doesn't matter what y'all went through, what y'all suffer, what y'all did to build this country. I mean, it's disgusting. In denial, all the way, 100%. And you're right. Martin Luther King Jr. is rolling over his grave, turning, screaming, yelling, and kicking.
Backflipping.
Absolutely. And not only that, but why is it such a difficult time to figure out how reparations are going to be dispersed? Was it a difficult time figuring out how to put those water holes on our Black women and children? Was it a difficult time trying to figure out how to get them canines to bite off breasts and penises? So when we really put things in pictures in the forefront for how they happened here in America, why is it such a hard thing for the Black community to get prepared? In Tulsa in 1920s, we had a sustainable hub. What's the problem? So why are we pretending like this is so hard to figure out? It's just really
not hard. It's not hard, Alex, because again, I've said this on another show. The Jews, the Japanese, 9/11 survivors, LGBTQ, who else? There's a lot of people who receive reparations and they didn't need a political party. They didn't lead a political movement. They basically got reparations. But yet when we start asking, it's a problem. Oh, y'all, why y'all asking for reparations? Stop begging the oppressor for some money. You'll be surprised what I've heard across social media and just people in general talking. But I will definitely say it's like when we request it, it seems like it's a problem. But it's like, wait a minute, we built this country. The wealth of this country was built on our backs.
Absolutely.
Our blood is on its soil. We built this country. A debt is owed. This is what we are. What happened to our 40 acres and a mule? Why the hell we don't have that? I got yet to receive that. I want mine. Cut the goddamn check, as you say, Alice. Cut the damn check. You get what I'm saying? Like, right. It's why is it so hard when we know for a fact that because we offer free labor, you get what I'm saying? Like free labor to all these corporations and slave owners. Basically, that's how they were able to build their wealth. Go ahead, baby.
And if you notice, I think Professor Griff mentioned that now they're coming up with criteria in order to get this money. I mean, why other groups didn't go through that? So you mean to tell me if I'm not Native American, I don't get anything? I mean, come on. Now they really choosing who gets what and how much. This is ridiculous.
I think the argument goes to, and we're going to get into this because further down I have my little notes. We're actually going to get into this, but I don't think it has been defined in a sense, and by defined meaning ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. They have not defined. Okay, if you have one parent who's quote unquote an immigrant and one parent who's ADOS or Foundational Black Americans, we're gonna get into that too, y'all, because I have to talk on this. I'm sorry, I just have to talk on it. But they have not defined. Okay, what if you have an immigrant parent, but you have somebody who's an American descendant of a slave, or slavery? So who qualifies for it? You see, it's these little intricacies that we need to discuss. Or what if you have quote unquote, let's just say they're not an immigrant. Let's say you have a white parent and you have an American descendant of slavery parent. So you mean to tell me they don't qualify either? Exactly. No, this needs to be defined because quote unquote, you can't, and it's just my opinion. Honestly, if you are part of that lineage where you got one parent or not, you should be able to get it. That's just my humble opinion. That's just me. Everybody may not agree with me, but that's just me. Because at the end of the day, hell, if your lineage is tied or connected to it, then you should get a fraction or at least somewhat of it. I don't care if it's not all, and maybe they can break it down and say, hey, you can get a fraction of it if you don't have both parents. But at the end of the day, at least you're still coming away from the table having some. Everybody might not agree with that. You get what I'm saying?
I agree with you.
But at the end of the day, it's like you're starting to see people's true colors, right? And I will say this, and we're going to get back to this topic, but I got to get into this because it's on my spirit and it's on my spirit heavy. And I've been texting Alex, and I've been texting you guys about this, about the beef going on between Foundational Black Americans and ADOS, you know, their group or what have you. And if I can just keep, you know, Professor Griff, he talked about it last night in his topic, what's going on. And I will truly, honestly say, I can't co-sign none of this bullshit. I was 110%. We did a whole show on ADOS. But it's a lot of things that I just, that's coming to the light that I can't co-sign to. One, I don't like drama. That's number one. Two, you got to realize at the end of the day, whether we FBA or ADOS, the white supremacy is looking at you like you're still a naga. I'm not going to say nigga. I'm going to say naga at the end of the day because, hey, we're on a show and we want to keep it light. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm seeing a lot of egos taking to place. And it's like, it's bigger than you, Tone. It's bigger than you, Yvette. It's bigger than you, Tariq. It's bigger than both of y'all. And a lot of people may not agree with me, and I shouldn't be talking about it. I'm going to talk about it because, again, we did a whole entire show on this. And everybody would seem to be on board until, hey, money became an issue of it, when people started to want to make money. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like we should be fighting. All this infighting, we all trying to get the same agenda, reparations. You get what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, when it comes to white supremacy, they're not trying to give us none of that. And if there's a divide, if there's a splitter, if there's any arguments, how in the hell are we going to fight supremacy if we can't get along with one another? Please tell me. Please.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, again, you know, it's supposed to be about lineage, not about who's the leader or who's the founder, because if we're going to take it all the way back, let's take it all the way back to Ida B. Wells. Let's take it all the way back to Martin Luther King when he said about it in his book. Let's take it, I mean, even Malcolm X talked about it. I mean, you cannot sit there and say you are a leader of somebody's lineage. That's where I disagree at. You get what I'm saying? You can't be the leader of my goddamn lineage. You ain't a part of my DNA. You get what I'm saying? So you can't say you didn't found it. How the hell you gonna found a goddamn lineage? Please tell me. That's where I disagree. And then you talking about who should be in charge and who not should be, who should follow. And I've seen a divide, and I'm just like, this is the same shit that happened with the Black Panther Party. This is the same shit that happened with Malcolm X. This is the same shit that happened with this group or that group. And it's hurtful. It's disappointing because we had so much momentum behind it. And now that I'm seeing a divide, it's more hurtful than anything. And I can't co-sign none of the drama, none of the bullshit. It's like, y'all check with me when y'all finish with the BS. Call me when they're ready to cut the checks. Otherwise, I can't co-sign to this bullshit. You get what I'm saying? And that's my spiel. I'm off my soapbox. I'm going to get off it, and we're going to get back on topic. But I just had to let that out because at the end of the day, what I'm seeing is counterproductive. And I was all for it, but I'm not for the bullshit, period. And that's my spiel, and I'm going to shut up on that. What's your take on it, ladies?
I want to, because I've been quiet for a little bit, and I want to first say, Quan, when you mentioned the variations of, or defining whether who's going to get it, what is the clear definition of, ADOS, how are we going to define this, or however, because I'm with you as far as all the fighting, there's too much ego in it, and once they remove the ego, then we can move forward. As for whenever our ancestors were enslaved, there was the 1 drop rule. Okay,
oh, yeah.
So 1 drop of black blood, you were black. So I see it the same way. Let's apply that same rule. 1 drop of black blood here, or not even 1 drop. If you have biracial parents, okay, if you're biracial, let me put it that way, because that was one of the examples you had given. If you have one parent that is black and you have one parent that's white, should they be entitled or whatnot? Absolutely, because they have a parent that has a lineage that was enslaved at during the time of slavery. So I do agree there's some kinks that do need to be worked out, and the definition needs to be well defined as to, who is classified under whatever label they want to put it as, because right now it's the egos that are trying to fight over what label we should use, whether it be whatever foundational blacks or ADOS. And I'm with you on as far as fighting over that. Leave me out of it when y'all are done fighting over that. Hey, I'm back in there with you.
That's right.
But I wanted to mention this because when you read the part of the article with Martin Luther King's niece, it hit me somewhere deep, and it made me go and pull up something that I have it bookmarked because I read it every so often. 4 days before King, 4 days before his death, he delivered a sermon, and that sermon was called "Remaining Awake Through a Great Revolution." Okay. And he preached about the nation's responsibility in addressing poverty among all colors. Okay. He began his story about the intersection of poverty and race way back in 1863 with the Emancipation Proclamation and on through the Great Depression. And if you don't mind, I have a 47-second clip, and the other clip may be a little less than that, just so they could hear what Dr. King said 4 days before he was killed, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
63. The Negro was told that he was free as a result of the Emancipation Proclamation being signed by Abraham Lincoln. But he was not given any land to make that freedom meaningful. It was something like keeping a person in prison for a number of years and suddenly discovering that that person is not guilty of the crime for which he was convicted. You just go up to him and say, "Now you're free," but you don't give him any bus fare to get to town. You don't give him any money to get some clothes to put on his back or to get on his feet again in life.
Okay, that one little excerpt hits hard, but the next one will hit even harder. See if I can get it to play.
It's all right to tell a man to lift himself by his own bootstraps, but it is a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
I need people to understand how deep that quote was. Mm-hmm. It's all right to tell a man to lift himself by his own bootstraps, but it is a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Mm-hmm. So how are we to lift ourselves from our own bootstraps when we don't have the boots?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I'm just gonna leave it right there.
We covered that last week, and it's amazing how what Dr. King said back then, how it reigns true today, and how
absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? Like all of these years that have passed, you would think that we would have surpassed or would have overcome all of these obstacles. No, we're in the same situation. We still fighting the same freaking battle. You get what I'm saying? Like we're still in the same situation, and like, we gotta let that sink in. You see, because we see our entertainers and our rappers and our athletes, and we think, oh well, we've made it. No, we're still in the same situation, and we have to come to terms with the fact that if we don't make a change, you get what I'm saying? If we don't make the change, guess what? You think we're doing bad now. Oh, trust me. The resources that they're trying to deplete for the black people right now, you think we're doing bad now. Imagine where we're going to be. Everybody's going to be on Skid Row. Everybody's going to be homeless and without jobs and without resources. And if you ain't bootlick or bootleg or a tool for white supremacy, then guess what? You are not going to have anything, period. And we have to come to terms with that. So I want to get your take on it, ladies, because again, we're going to dive a little bit further in this before we move on. But I do want to make sure everybody understand why we're bringing this up and why we're talking about these topics, because again, we're coming up on an election. And if you don't have a voice, if you're not concerned about what's going on in politics right now, you might as well be dead. Plain and simple. Just go dig yourself a hole and jump in. My bad. I'm sorry. Maybe that was too cruel. I'm sorry. You know, I can be a little too blunt sometimes. But at the end of the day, this is how concerned you should be about where you are economically, socially, financially, all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? We don't just talk to just talk because, hell, we all got something to do. We got kids, jobs, businesses to run. We got school, all of this stuff going on. We're not just talking just for the sake of talking. We want to wake the masses up. You get what I'm saying? So anyway,
absolutely.
Go ahead, y'all. We're going to dive some more in it, but go ahead.
You said everything. Yeah, you said everything in a nutshell. I mean, everything that's being said and done is to repress and oppress our Black community. We have to keep that in mind. We're not asking for no handout. Reparation is due to us because we have gone through lynching, raping, forced labor. I mean, I could go on, discrimination, racism, to this day, separation, unequal pay. We could go on and on and on. It's time for them to pay us back for everything that we have done. And if you want to look the other way, with a small percentage of African Americans saying, you know what, Trump is for us. He's not. We have to look at the bigger picture. And if we agree with him, guess what? That's saying okay to our ancestors. Okay, we don't care. That happened way back. And we have to push it out there in the front. Just like every other group, like you stated, Quan, you have those the people who are from the Jews and everything. They keep everything active. They remind you of what they went through. So we can't allow for slavery to go unjust, unquiet. No way. We still go through that to this day. And if we let it die down, it's saying to them it's okay. And it's not okay by me at all. So keep pushing it. Keep letting them know. Put your vote where you need to put it. Make your voice be known. Reparation is not a gift. It's due to us. It's owed to us. 100%.
Yeah, I agree, Carrie. Real quick, and Scorpio 16, that was a wonderful clip. I hope everybody in the chat room enjoyed that. And also, too, the Avita King, like, I don't know what her mindset is. She seems very fixed and very stuck in a position to where it appears as if she speaks for everyone in the Black community, and she doesn't. That mindset is not productive or proactive for our people. But, gosh, this is just so much information to take into account. Like, where we are now, it's not any better. And what would have been nice is if back, in the 60s, this would have been at the United Nations for human rights, a human rights issue. So America can be shown on an international level what they're doing and what's happening in a democracy. So I feel like where we are right now, a perspective to lend to the conversation is, where do we pick up? Okay, because we need to speak the same language, and we're not speaking the same language of power, and we're not speaking the same language of extreme physical force. So I'm not advocating violence, but what I am saying is we need to take a different method and approach, because our oppressor is not going to give us anything for free. So again, the ballot or the bullet. So what I'm saying is we all need to become more knowledgeable on a platform politically to understand what's at stake, because we don't have power here in America. But what we do have is economic buying power. And if we pool our money within our own community, that will build the power needed to speak up and say, yes, we are a large force here to be reckoned with, and that needs respect and deserves human rights in civil manners. So it's like our approach needs to be productive. And as far as like the YouTube beef and the social media propaganda, I mean, we have a white supremacist, racist mindset media mogul that's constantly painting a picture of what's not reality. We're being shown images of what looks like it should be, and it's really not. So it's so frustrating when you have people who appear to be leaders and who are great mindsets in vast areas who seem to be at odds with their approach and methodology, just like how W.E.B. Du Bois and Garvey. One was insolent, one was grassroots. It's the same scenario, just like you mentioned earlier, Quan. So it's frustrating because when you see our people in our community kind of like at heads, it's like, well, damn, where do I go? I look up to all y'all because y'all bring something to the table, but I can't deal with the bickering. So it's almost like, okay, back to the drawing board. What do we do on a proactive measure? You know, because we're not politicians. And that's another thing, you know, it's frustrating when you have entertainers and just common, simple people speaking for us in a political realm who aren't involved directly into politics. So it's almost like not defeating because it's not defeating, but it just gives you the idea to think, what next? You know, let's be solution-based. What's up? What can we do right now? And what I say right now is make sure you're accountable with your mind and your vote and do the research. Just like you said earlier, Quan, and just like 16 I mentioned in regards to Democratic and Republican, it's about who has the Black interest at best heart.
Absolutely. So obviously, Trump attempted to portray the Democratic Party as hostile to African Americans. And, you know, the New York Times reported, you know, basically he said that Democrats are willing to destroy the foundations of our society and the pillars of our justice and judicial system in their craven pursuit of power and money. And right on cue, the crowd says, amen. And he goes on to say, today's Democratic Party has no ideas about how to help Black Americans, he went on. They only want to really use the radical socialism. They want to open your borders so anybody can come in. And he continued by saying the Democrats care more about illegal aliens than African American citizens or our military or our citizens all over the place. They care more. Under Democratic politicians, African Americans have become literally forgotten Americans. But under my administrations, you've seen what we have been able to do because they are forgotten no longer. He also stated that Black Americans built this country. So honestly, if I could just keep it a buck, y'all, you know, Trump did make a valid point. You know, what have the Democratic Party done for the Black community, or even for even the Republican Party for that matter? You know, but if you know Trump, however, I mean, if you know about his antics, you know, we all know that he'll do anything and say anything to get what he wants. I mean, he's an opportunist, he's a narcissist, and quite frankly, the Black community has been, you know, very loyal to the Democratic Party, but, you know, I think it's time that we really ask some serious questions. You know, in my opinion, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are two wings of the same bird. I've said that early in the show. I think they are really seriously two wings of the same bird. And I mean, it's honestly, neither party, in my opinion, have done anything to uplift us as a community. They have done nothing to break the racial wealth gap for the Black community. And it seems like the Democratic Party only wants to cater to the LGBTQ or these immigrants. I'm sorry, you know, I love immigrants, but at the end of the day, that's just who they cater to. And that's absolutely fine. If that's who they want to cater to, that's fine. But don't expect us to bail you out during the election if you're not willing to offer us real tangibles as a whole. That's just my opinion. And when I hear Trump talk about, oh, well, you have nothing to lose, and I look at the Democratic Party, and it's just like somebody who doesn't know any different will probably say, yeah, you're right. The Democrats ain't offering anything, so hell, I ain't got nothing to lose, so let me go with Trump. And it's like, no, it's two wings of the same goddamn bird. They're neither party is offering any tangibles to you, so you don't vote for none of them. I don't care who basically, you know, they're saying, oh, well, yeah, you got to vote. People died for you to vote. No, they're not offering any tangibles. That doesn't make sense. That's insanity. Why would you vote for the lesser of two evils? Why would you sit there and place your vote behind somebody who would have not offered anything to you for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years? Like, that's crazy. At what point are we going to wake up and realize that our vote should be a business transaction, a quid pro quo? I vote for you if you offer tangibles. If you don't offer tangibles, guess what? You don't get my vote. Plain and simple. The Asian community, they barely vote, but guess what? They get their tangibles. Mexican community, guess what? They vote, but they vote mostly Republican, but guess what? they get tangibles. And the same goes for any other racial group. Everybody goes in and saying, hey, you wipe my hands, I'm gonna wipe your hands. You do something for me, I'm gonna do something for you. At the end of the day, I'm gonna vote for you, but what are you offering for my community? Black people, and it's so unfortunate, we're the only one that is like prostituting our votes. We ain't getting shit for voting for these people. Why are you so loyal? You know, the Democratic has been pimping our damn votes for years, and what are we doing? What are we getting back in return for this? Nothing. And it's time for change, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for change. So I want to get your take on it, ladies, because, again, you know, Trump, he's saying a lot of valid points, but we all know he's a narcissist. We all know that he's a con artist. We all know he says what he wants to say to get what he wants. We see that every day. But I want to get your take on it, ladies, because, again, there's going to have some people who will fall for this trick bag. So I want to get your take on it, ladies.
I mean, you said everything in a nutshell. Again, you're right. It's like he might say nothing to lose, but also nothing to lose, nothing to gain. So we have nothing to gain whatsoever. And to continue saying that we fought to vote, no, we still fighting to get equality. In we're moving towards 2020, and we have yet to get what we need, what we deserve. I said it earlier. It's like we are the only group that fight for things, and we don't get it. So you're absolutely right. We need to stop voting for people who make promises and don't come through. I think we need to get together, like you stated, research, keep putting the word out there, keep acknowledging that we have nothing. And we can't have a small group of prominent African Americans saying, yes, he's this, yes, he's that. And then when you look at it, there's nothing to show. So we still stuck where we was at, and we'll continue to be stuck if we don't go out there and voice and be together collective as a whole to demand change. And I'll be the first person to sign the reparation. I'll be the first person to be standing out there. I'm not afraid. We need to get what we deserve. 2020 has to be different. I'm not voting for anyone who's just going to say, talk the talk. But you got to walk the walk as well.
Come on. Agreed.
I don't even want to keep going, because then I'm just going to keep going and keep going. But I'm frustrated with sometimes with you. Absolutely right. People just vote just to please X, Y, and Z. Right.
You should be frustrated. If you're not frustrated, like, do you have a pulse? Like, you should be frustrated. Like, no, I don't know. Like, at what point is this going to get through to your thick ass skull? Like, no, you should be frustrated, people. And I'm sorry if you take offense to this, but I'm sorry, like, for far too long, we have been giving away our vote instead of using this as a business transaction. We should be able to get something for our vote. Everybody else does it, so why can't we?
Absolutely.
What's your take on it, Alex, in 16?
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it's definitely guilty. But one thing too, you know, Trump, he said some stuff, but he's always gonna say some stuff. And as far as the Democratic, you know, vote that we.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Alex.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there you go.
Okay, sorry, I had to move around. As far as the Democratic vote, you know, I'm guilty of it. And one thing too that I will say, that 13th Amendment documentary on Netflix, you know, under the Clinton administration, 800,000 black men from 1991 to 2000. So we don't think about that. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to change, positive results, positive change. So as far as that article being biased, and you know, the 2 or 3 black supporters of Trump that were saying it was gangster and you know, Trump and all that stuff, you know, I don't get it. I don't support it. And as far as, you know, Trump coming to Michigan and Michigan now being a right to work state, you know, that's not good. We need unions. Unions help. You know what I'm saying? From my personal experience, I know against employment discrimination and pay. So, you know, when you got a con artist up in there who's, he knows how to dodge the war himself and, you know, make money moves and things of that nature, he's going to say what he wants to say. He is very narcissistic. He is an opportunist, and he's a misogynist, and he has children from immigrant women.
Right.
So, as far as that part, I'm done speaking on him. But what I will say is, you know, we do need to do research and figure out who's going to have them tangibles and who's going to do what for the black community. But yeah, this has been a very enlightening call. There's a couple things that came to mind, but each sister said something very valuable. And You know, I don't want to bicker. I don't want to argue. I want to unite. And the same blood of the pulse in Africa that's there is the same brotherhood of the pulse that's in our blood here in America. And I do agree with the one drop rule. I have a white parent, but that doesn't disagree or decline me from my lineage. I can trace my great-great-grandpa. I know who they are. I know who my people are. I might not know the exact tribe, but that doesn't denounce me from being African in America and having the same experience. So I think that when we get technical and get into technicalities, it strips us from the real passion and the fundamental constitutional right to be treated humane. And that's why it needs to be enforced, America, because you wrote it for all. So it just gets really tricky and technical, but you know, when it comes down to morals, it's what's right. So we're old. It's a God-given right. We're people. So I don't know, you know, what's up, United Nations? We got to get our voice in somehow, whether we're FBA, ADOS, or, you know, black folk, whatever you want to say. We don't need to get a new flag. We don't need to get, you know, something else done that other people haven't done who have been repaired thoroughly and beyond for free. So
that's right.
It just makes me wonder, what's the next step? So with that, I'll graciously let Sister Scorpio 16 go ahead.
You ladies have done a phenomenal job of actually summing up everything, and I absolutely agree with everything that all three of you have said thus far. You know, I'm just going to add to it that Trump, we all know that Trump does say things for shock value. He says and he does things for shock value, just to add to the list of things that he does. That's what he's notorious for. He, you know, this is something that he does. So with that being said, I just want to add to what you all are saying and agree with you. We need to look at what candidate is going to give us not what they think we deserve, but what is owed to us. We're not sitting around asking for handouts. We should demand, I should say, I'm going to use that word, what is owed to us. Definitely. You know, we were put at a disadvantage, you know, based on the foundation of this country altogether. Okay, America was founded on the backs of our ancestors. So we can trace that all the way back to the foundation of this country. So, you know, in retrospect, when you look at this as a whole, I think that, you know, the labels and the egos, if we could get all of this out of the way, unite as a people, you know, and work out all of these little things, these little small, because to me, these are small technicalities that can be worked out if people could just put their egos to the side, you know, and see the bigger picture and see it for what it is. Because as long as our people are going to fight about things like ADOS, FBA, what all of these labels, as long as they're going to fight about little things, and this is little compared to what we're looking at trying to do, you know, and which is get what's rightfully ours, you know, and with them doing the infighting, you know, we are literally giving the oppressor what they want. Because as long as we're fighting over who gets the credit, you know, it's almost like, you know, when the fighting that's going on amongst these people for these labels, it's like they want the credit, but we, the laymen like us, we don't have big names out there. We're just little people in our communities. We're going to be the ones that are boots on the ground doing the work. So it's like these big heads want to fight over the credit, but who's going to be doing the work? Who's doing the work? Who's trying to get the message? It's like, you know, I get aggravated about all of the fighting that goes on because I see that there's too much. We have so many other issues that we need to work out instead of fighting over what we should be labeled or defined as. You know, we already know that our ancestors were enslaved. We can define all of that. We can pull all the stats on that. We can do whatever needs to be done. But as far as the little small things that our people are fighting over, or should I say the people who are trying to coin phrase their terminology or whatnot to get the credit, you know, for this. Because I think that this is just a battle, an in battle of who's going to say, you know, or who's going to win the award for, you know, getting reparations for our people, but not trying to do the work. because it seems like it's the little people like us that have little voices that are trying to wake up the masses, while the people who actually have a large following could be doing the same thing instead of fighting. And I'm not going to use any names because we all know who's doing the fighting over what, you know. And so that's just my take on everything. But I think this has been a really, really good dialogue tonight, and I'm sure that this is going to come around again. So.
Okay, so I just got two more points that I want to talk about, and then we're going to close out. So one, I want to know, ladies, should any Black person be called a sellout if they cast their vote for Trump? I mean, should everyone have the right to vote for someone like a Trump? I mean, are we missing or not hearing from these voters? I mean, what is the missing piece that attracts a Black voter to Trump? What are we missing? You know, I mean, do you think the Democratic Party is in for a rude awakening? I mean, in typical political fashion, I mean, he said everything that some may want to hear. He's against undocumented immigration, and many people believe that, you know, jobs are being taken away from them by other immigrants. He admits that Black Americans built this country, yet the Democratic Party is saying immigrants built this country. I mean, he's just about says everything to lure the Black vote. So I guess I just want to know from y'all is, are you considered a sellout if you believe in the hype and the lies coming from Trump? I mean, not necessarily lies, because, I mean, he does make valid points, but we all know the reason why he's making his points is because he's making his spill to lure the Black voter in, because he knows that we are the deciding factor in that breaking point of determining who's going to win. So I want to know, I mean, I'm going to ask this question and I'm going to ask one more and we're going to close out because we've been on this long enough, but I just want to know, I mean, are you considered a sellout, or a person is considered a sellout if they cast their vote for Trump? What's your take, ladies?
Okay, I'm going to say this. As far as Trump is concerned, I don't know about the term sellout. I'm going to hold off on answering that part, but I will say this. People who are voting for Trump or supporting Trump, I think, and if this is, you know, the truth, okay, because this article really does have a lot of bias, but I know that there are some Black people who are supporting Trump. And for those people, I think it's more so because Trump is using this to his advantage. But I think it's because the Democratic Party has yet to produce a candidate who's solid. And so that's why Trump got into office 4 years ago. And I think that, you know, the lack of being able to produce a feasible candidate for the Democratic Party may be the reason that he may get reelected again. I don't know about calling someone a sellout as far as giving Trump the vote. I mean, I don't know what to say at this point as far as that is concerned, simply because Trump kind of shows you in a way who he is. He doesn't really do a good job of hiding who he is, you know, nevertheless, but I think he uses of a feasible Democratic candidate to his advantage. I do think that.
What's your take on it, Alex?
What I will say is that I think that people who vote for Trump inadvertently support the Republican Party and its point, not necessarily him as the figurehead. I don't know. Are we sellouts for eating Popeye's chicken sandwiches with all that dye in it? I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do to be sellouts. But as far as him, I just don't support him because his personality and also the policies aren't for Black people. I just don't see the fundamental changes, percentage-wise, that are showing prosperity. When you say minorities have increased jobs, well, minorities include a gamut of different ethnicities. So for me, you know, as far as technicalities of words, you know what I'm saying, run the check. Where are we equal on the playing field? You know, America has never freely given the Black man anything. When we were in the factories, once the war pursued with Germany, we were janitors. It took years to get the factory positions. Then we got jobs with better pay and better neighborhoods. But again, today, where we are, there's just so many discrepancies across the board. Fix the water system here in Flint, Michigan. These children have lead in their blood. Like, what the hell, man? There's so many different things that can be focused on. So again, for him to get his ass up there and be smug, what do you have to lose? My children's legacy, my integrity, my character, our ethnicity. And also, too, one thing I will say, and it's not name dropping because there are people within the ADOS, FBA, grassroots who are doing the damn thing with tours, conferences, good intentions. What we need is to get connected to our motherland, because the Chinese here, they can go back to China. The Mexicans here, they can go back to Mexico. Okay, can we go back to our motherland and still have that connectivity and that foundational base? We need to get connected with each other and start doing it inside. That's what they know. We're just here. You see what I'm saying? So they listen to these conversations, and it's funny. It sounds like a whole bunch of confusion. But as far as Trump and being a sellout, at this point, I mean, hell yeah, you can be a sellout. You know, it's a choice. You don't have to vote for him. So I don't know, you know. And when I hear Sambo type talk and cooning and shucking and jiving and, you know, tap dancing and butter dipped biscuits, it's real. There are people who are completely clueless and don't view themselves as a Black American, an African in America. So again, it's just, it definitely is a very passion-driven topic. I'm all open for it. I know many people in the chat are commenting, and Cat Boogie, you had some very valuable insight as well. So, you know, I just look forward to seeing actual production manifested that's not actually effective, that's also efficient. So.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, y'all both, yeah, I mean, y'all brought excellent viewpoints. It's the same, all I can say is fool me once, shame on me. What's it go? Fool me twice. I think it's shame on me, right? Something like that. We had President Obama make promises. We fell for it the second term. Let's not repeat the same action with someone else again that doesn't look like us, doesn't think for us, doesn't protect us, doesn't love us, and don't see us as equal. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so last but not least, as you know, Yvette Cornell and Antonia Moore is suggesting that Black voters vote down ballot as a strategy for the next presidential election instead of voting for Trump. In other words, just vote Democratic or write in ADOS. Honestly, I understand why anyone would suggest we support any candidate, especially if they're not offering like real tangibles. I don't understand like why they would suggest that we as a community vote down Democratic ballot, because honestly, they're not offering real tangibles. And I'm not going to just prostitute my goddamn vote just because they're Democratic. And I just want to know, ladies, like, what do you think of the ADOS? And they do call themselves founders, so let's just put this out there. They do call themselves founders, even though there's a lot of debate about this. But however, what do you think about this whole strategy of voting down ballot as a strategy for the next presidential election? Do you think that people should just vote Democratic down, even though they don't agree with them? Because again, you have some racist Democrats who wear blackface, who quote unquote don't give a damn about us, and they're basically saying no, just vote down Democratic or just write in ADOS. And my problem with that is in Louisiana, when I vote, there's no such thing as writing in. It's all electronic. So you can't write in some goddamn body's name or ADOS. You got to basically vote Democratic or Republican or whoever else is running. Green Party, Tea Party, who are independent or whoever. So you can't write somebody's name. It's a simple, you select a button and you pick a party of who you're voting for. So that's why I have a problem with this, because you can't necessarily write in somebody's name. No, it's an electronic ballot box that you have to press a button and it selects somebody's name. So you can't write somebody's name in it unless you do early election and you can write somebody, or you do late election and you can write somebody's name in. So I want to know, ladies, what's your take on them pushing this whole thing about we should do a Democratic, down ballot, vote down Democrats the entire, election or whatever. And I'm just, it's major confusion on my end. So I want to get your take on this and we're going to close out, ladies.
Okay, Okay, real quick, I'm just going to say, just because you mentioned Louisiana, and you know, I live here in Louisiana, that's going to be an issue here.
Thank
and
you.
I'm going to say this, nah, fam, no, I'm not going to do a vote down ballot for a Democratic Party. We have to look at tangibles. Who is giving us what we need? And we can't handwrite anybody in here. Even if we vote early, there are machines. I'm not sure how every parish is set up in Louisiana, but in the parish that I live in, there's still electronic machines for early voting. Right. So that's not even an option for us.
Thank you. That was my whole point. Like, in New Orleans, you cannot, quote unquote, write somebody unless you're doing early voting, or if you, quote unquote, you go to the voting and you don't have your ID or whatever, they'll let you do the written ballot or whatever. And sometimes that vote may not necessarily count, but most of the machines are electronic. You can't write somebody's name in. So how the hell are you going to vote down Democratic or write in ADOS? That doesn't work in Louisiana and many other states.
What is that going to do? Like, I mean, how I'm writing down voting Democratic and then writing down ADOS or documenting ADOS, what exactly is that going to accomplish?
Not a goddamn thing. And that's my problem with it. That's where I'm like, I gotta step back from this, because now you're sounding like there's a hidden hand behind this ADOS agenda.
Mm-hmm. Talk about it.
Right, and you're telling us how we should vote. First of all, This is supposed to be about lineage. I understand that it's a political plea to get reparations, but I don't need you telling me who I should or should not vote for. What the fuck are you doing? Excuse my language, guys, but I'm just sorry. Okay. It's like you can't tell me who to vote for, Ma. You can't do that. Like, nah, it's like, it's about lineage, but I'm not going to tell you, you should vote Democrat or else. Why would you vote for Republican? No, I'm voting for whoever has the goddamn tangibles and whoever's willing to cut the goddamn check. Period. So I want to get your take on it, Alex. I want to get your take on it, Carrie.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Here in New York City, it's by machine. You can't tell New Yorkers what to do, when to do it, how to do it. So I'm 100% with both of you ladies. We cannot allow anyone to tell us what party to choose. Why? Because at the end, we don't know what they benefit, what they get out of it. Because we sure not going to get anything from it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I appreciate the intent of, putting something different. And this is no mockery. This is no, no slam against anybody and anything that they're doing. But it's almost like if I'm at school and we have a vote and I cross out all the eligible solutions and write one in. I mean, it's not on, you can't do that. You see what I'm saying? But it doesn't say who is writing in laws for us. Like, it's just like the supreme law of the land is the Constitution. It's federal law. That's it. And with Supreme Court justice appointees and, all these people in the Congress and the Senate and their bills are dying down. It's like, damn, there needs to be like a redo of the Constitution almost to still enforce and include, economic stability and equality across the board in all areas for the Black community.
Yes, so I agree.
It's just very frustrating. But, again, I'm for any type of tangible reparation. I don't know what's going to be, land, education, financial,
everything.
All of it. It does need to happen. And again, if we are going to vote, whether it's Republican or Democrat, and I do agree, it is the same goddamn gone wings on the same bird, the same dang gone bird. We need to look at the policy. So it's almost frustrating because if I was to vote Republican, it's not for Trump's act. That's fucking for sure. But I'm like, damn, these policies are towards our people. So it's almost like, man, what do you do? So, I'm just appreciative of you, Quan, you 16, you, Carrie, Professor Griff, everybody in the chat, because this platform gives me the ability to even have this knowledge base to ponder, to think, to study, because it makes a difference for my children. And when they have children, their children. And, we're all growing. You know what I'm saying? So, again, as far as tangibles, that's what I'm for. The Black family needs to rise. The Black family structure needs to rise. Black women, Black men, Black children unite. And anything that is intentionally put into play for Black people, I want to see it in writing and in conduct. Don't talk about it, be about it. So that's what I want to see happen.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, ladies and gentlemen, obviously we have to come to a close because we've been namming on this almost 2 hours. But I will definitely say we needed to discuss this because, again, we have a major election coming up. Now, whether you choose to vote or not vote, Republican, not Republican, Democratic, not Democratic, at the end of the day, you have to find out what's best that's going to move your family forward, whether that's, Democratic or not, Republican or not. You have to decide who's offering the best solutions to move your family forward, because it's all about creating generational wealth, closing the wealth gap when it comes to Black Americans. And at the end of the day, we want to serve you with options. We want to open your mind so you can see what's on the table. And at the end of the day, we want you to make a very comprehensive decision on where you place your vote. Don't prostitute your vote out there just because it's what we are typical to do. Like, no, don't do that. That doesn't make sense. You don't vote for the lesser of two evils, okay? So we just want to open your minds, and we want you to start thinking and strategically placing your vote where it counts. I don't know who's running on your local jurisdiction, but please, by all means, do your research. Go to these meetings, go to these rallies, go see who's offering the best solutions. And if it doesn't align with you, your family, your economical stance, your social, political stance, then hold your vote. That's my stance. That's my opinion. But before we close, I just want to repeat that Professor Griff on December the 8th will be in Capitol Heights, Maryland at I'm sorry, let me get this flyer pull up. The Weaponization of Black Music. He's going to be with Dr. Wesley Muhammad on December the 8th at 3 p.m., which is on a Sunday. The doors open up at 2 p.m. It's at 9185 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. The tickets are $20. So it's Professor Griff and Dr. Wesley Muhammad. And they are going to be talking about some very profound information about, the weaponization of music. He's also, along with Dr. Wesley Muhammad, he's going to be on November the 23rd from 1 to 5 p.m. in Durham, North Carolina, 112 Hunt Street. And the pre-tickets are $20, and at the door is $25. And again, it's the Weaponization of Black Music. We'll be dropping all the info in the comment section. So if you want to participate, I'll send all the information to you guys who want to participate. So again, we do want to thank everyone, including Professor Griff, for giving us the opportunity to discuss this topic. If you would like to contribute to the platform, you can hit up Super Chat, you can hit up Cash App, you can hit up PayPal. And we also ask that you please like, subscribe, and share. Ladies, do you have anything to close while we get this out? Go ahead and close, ladies. Any last comments you want to add?
No, thank you for the opportunity to speak on this topic. I know I came in late, so I just want people to know that talk is cheap. And we have to sit and think, why are we as a people, a whole, still struggling? Why are we still not getting what we deserve? Why do we have people in politics standing in front of us making promises they cannot keep? Why everyone is up and running, taking care of their family, feeding their family, getting extra funds, getting resources that we are entitled to. So when the next time you vote, think about all these things. We are not begging for a handout. We deserve everything that's coming our way. And if you cannot figure out who to vote for, my opinion to you is don't vote at all, because we do not need anyone sitting in front of us or in that office running and making decisions for us as a whole and not giving a damn about us.
That's what they say, quid pro quo. And you need to define, I'm going to drop the link of what that means in the chat room. Quid pro quo.
Absolutely.
Something for something, okay? Alex, I'm not sure which one of you guys are trying to talk, but I can't hear you. Is it Alex or is it Scorpio?
I think it was Alex.
Alex?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. What I was saying is, one of the things too that's really important that we got to keep in mind with Neely Fuller and the compensatory code. You know, there are no leaders. We are the leader. The code is the leader. It's a pattern of thought, speech, and behavior, action. So we got to keep that in mind, and we don't have to look for everybody to be that next revolutionary. For us, we need to be that code ourselves for our code of conduct. So just thank you to you, ladies. Thank you, Professor Griff, for this platform and everything you do at the forefront, and I'm really appreciative.
Absolutely. 16, you got anything to add?
Sure. Just add on to anything that Alex just said about Neely Fuller. Get on code. I think our people have to do a better job about getting on code. These discussions that we're having, especially this topic that we covered tonight, and I know it's a lot to digest for some people, but the reason that we come forth and have these discussions is to give our people who lack resources or don't know where to look, just to give you some ideas so that you can make the best choice for you and your family when it comes to issues that affect your family, your community, and us as a whole. And I thank Professor Griff for allowing us to discuss topics like this on his platform, you know, so that we can reach the people and we reach the ears that want to hear and are able to take this information, digest it, and then make the best decision. So I appreciate dialoguing with you ladies tonight. And thanks again to Professor Griff for allowing us to use this platform so that we can get these messages across.
Absolutely. So 2 last things. One, if you would like to participate in the Alternative Black Studies course series, you can email Professor Griff at Sirius Mindz with a Z, info@gmail.com. I'll drop the email in the chat room. And also Professor Griff has a new album coming out on January 20th of 2020. And it's called The Energy Code. So if you want to download the album and get into it, he's gonna have a new and upcoming album. Please support Soleil's new album. It's on all platforms right now. And again, it's called, again, you can download her album as well. She's on all platforms, but it's called Encoded. And I just want everyone to support her platform. And so please support Queen Soleil, get her album. Professor Griff will be dropping his album on January 2020. So that's going to be deep. So please, guys, support, show love.
Right.
We love you, Professor Griff.
Oh, wait, don't forget the Black Thursday giveaway.
Oh, okay. So just so you guys know, on Black Thursday, and what's the date, Carrie?
The 21st this week.
Okay, so the 21st, we will be giving away a free gift. This is our own Sirius Mindz Black Thursday, not like the white corporations, white supremacy, Black Friday. We calling it Black Thursday. So we're going to be giving away a free gift for our dedicated listeners and subscribers. So again, we will be giving away a free gift for those who are dedicated to this platform. So please stay tuned. We will be dropping the name and the announcement and the winner on our quote unquote Black Thursday, Black Code, Black Vision, Black 2020. So again, stay tuned. We will announce the winner on our quote unquote Black Thursday. Okay? Peace. We love you.
Blessings, everyone.
Sleep well and peace.